Hello, everyone. My name is Jacqueline from She Rises Studios, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's author celebration. We are raising our mugs to Espresso Yourself, a cup of resilience, a soul stirring anthology brewed in with strength, healing, and empowerment. This inspiring collection features real life stories, poems, and reflections from women who faced life's hardest moments and rose stronger. Like your favorite cup of coffee, this book is bold, comforting, and exactly what your soul needs. So pour yourself a cup, settle in, and let's celebrate the incredible voices behind Espresso Yourself. Hi, Erica. How are you today?
Hello. Great. Thank you, Jacqueline. So excited to be here. So excited for this book.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about this wonderful book that we've launched. The ebook went out 2 weeks ago, and now the paperback is already available. So, to warm us up, how do you take your coffee, and how often do you drink a cup of coffee?
I drink coffee every day, and I have to put my cocoa protein powder in it every morning so that I get a good cup of protein too. So that's how I start my morning every morning. And then always, if you don't live in Oklahoma, you wouldn't know what this is, but Brahms whipped cream. So smooth in
Oh.
some Brahms whipped cream. So it is the most creamiest whipped cream. And I can tell you, I have been all over and I cannot find any creamier whipped cream anywhere unless it's like homemade whipped cream. So I wish I could just take it with me when I do travel because it's that
Everywhere.
good. My husband goes in and buys me like 6 cans every few weeks. It's
It's an
bad.
essential. It's an
It's an
essential.
essential. Coffee is needed in the morning at 5 a.m.
That's true. That's true. Well, would you say that the way you take your coffee is reflected on how you wrote, or how you've contributed to this particular book?
I think it was really interesting because I like trying different kinds of coffee. And it was really interesting because what I wrote about was my journey of finding my path, kind of, and
Mm.
that, like, how just the discovery along the way of like not feeling like I was really guided except by God. Like I would literally go like, how do I do this? And God would kind of show up and give me another clue of how to do life kind of thing. And so it was kind of like, how you kind of, if anybody's ever tried coffee, played with coffee, or even cocos or teas or things, and you start playing with putting a little of this spice in it, or a little of that, or, a little cocoa, a little caramel, so it kind of reminded me of that because I like to try all kinds of different coffees when I go places. And that's kind of, I think, a neat thing to get to experience. So, yeah.
That's wonderful, and that's I think that reflects, it's true to this particular book because everybody, each author puts on a little take on the coffee.
Mhm.
So it's very exciting. What inspired you to say yes to this particular project?
Probably because I love coffee so much. So when it said coffee, I was like, oh, that is really cool. I love coffee. And I think, I think, and I get that there are a lot of people who are tea drinkers and not coffee drinkers, but, and so we can all sit around and some people have coffee and some people tea. And my
Yeah.
daughter likes matcha, so I think it just kind of brings out the flavoring of thinking like, oh, we can sit down and, have a drink together and talk about life together is what it reminds me of. So that's what I thought was really cool about this.
That's great. And it this actually brings a little bit more fun into it as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Um, Without, giving away too much, can you briefly share a piece of what you have shared or what
Mhm.
you've chosen to write in this book?
Sure. I actually kind of, as I was writing it, talked about the manifestation journey that God taught me as a little
Mhm.
girl and how, just kind of trying to discover my place in the world. And that was my title. It was really about that finding these little things along the way that God directed me to, and then learning kind of how to lean into manifesting. And as I was writing it, even wrote about, how when I got sick in 2020 after having COVID, just having that body crash and kind of
Mm,
going, God, I don't know how, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. This is tough. This is really tough. Like I was having horrible migraines every day, and I
mm,
had word finding problems. It was just awful. And I was just reminded by God, like, I'm here, I have you, I'm going to show you how to do this life too. And interestingly enough, I didn't write as much about the sickness in this story like I did in some of the other anthologies. However, it's still the take on where it doesn't matter where you are in life, um, when wherever you're at, if you step out and say, okay, I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try to do it in whatever way, in whatever fashion, and whatever that's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to do it, even if that's just a little bit. And it was just really a precious time where God really brought me back to remembering that, like, He really does love me, and He really wants good for my life. And, He's going to unfold those things a little along the way. I just have to trust Him. And not always does that mean that you're completely healed. Like,
mhm,
I'm probably, a good 60 to 70% healed. Every once in a while, I'll still crash, and I have some autoimmune stuff I have to deal with. But I
mhm.
think that's the thing, is just remembering that it's like that cup of coffee, right? Sometimes we get up in the morning, we're like, oh, I just like to go right back to bed. This is, and it's like, okay, I'm going to step out in faith, and I'm going to do this day. And that cup of coffee kind of reminds us that, okay, God's got me, and I can wake up to something new and see what happens from there.
It it warms it coffee warms your warms your body, and this
Mhm.
book warms your heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And start your brain
And
with
starts your brain.
caffeine.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true. Remembering when you were going through, when you were writing, the process of writing your story, your chapter,
Mhm.
was it emotionally challenging for you? And did it in some way help you continue to heal emotionally?
Mhm. Yeah, I think every time you tell your story, it gets easier. Like,
Mm,
so my background is I've been a counselor for the last 35 years, and so as a counselor, we tend to keep things in more because the tendency, you have these HIPAA requirements, and I'm a coach as well and a speaker, and so on the coach side and speaker side and ministry side, it's a little different, and so you do share some things. However, you're also very cautious not to share a lot about your own personal story, even when you're speaking as a counselor. So there's always that place. I think I've always felt like, oh, I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to trigger somebody, or re-traumatize somebody by something I've shared, or those kinds of things. And yet at the same time, realizing just how cathartic and beautiful and amazing writing really is, so healing. And yet at the
mm,
same time, knowing that, and since writing, I started writing more last year, and published my first book. But since writing, having so many people come back and go, Erica, oh my gosh, this has touched my life so much. It's helped me change my perspective. I think it really brought me into a different outlook about it. Obviously, still, I'm, going to be more cautious, on the cautious side of like what and how much I want to share. But at the same time, if this helps somebody else go through the journey, I love that so much. I think that's the amazing part. And the amazing part, that when we're doing this with anthologies, that I love, because there's other coaches, counselors, business women in there who are sharing their resilient stories. It really gives you light to see, like, oh, I can take a little bit of this and I could see where this would help me in this part of my life. Or, oh, I know somebody who's dealing with that. Maybe I could share that with them. It just gives you a lot of different storylines to help so many people.
That's wonderful. And the theme of this particular book is resilience, and
Yeah.
everybody has taken part in sharing what resilience is for how they define it for themselves. How
Mhm.
does your story reflect your personal definition of resilience?
I truly believe that resilience is truly that strength of getting up every day and saying yes. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have tough times. It just means that you say, instead of focusing on the what you can't do, what can I do in this moment?
Mm,
What
yeah,
can I do in this moment? And when we start focusing that way, our brain moves us. My background is in neuropsych, so I always go, when we move out of the what we can't do and into what we can do, then our brain starts picking up on that, and then we start moving in that direction, and things unfold differently. When we get stuck on the I can't do this, we see more of why we can't do it, and we find ourselves stuck. And, I mean, even going back to me laying on that couch and going, God, I can't do this. I remember saying that and going, and, I teach clients all the time, stay away from the word can't, and I remember as a kid hearing can't, never could do a thing, right? That people would say those phrases. And at the same time, sometimes you're in that pit, and I hope that the women and individuals who read this, I mean, I think men can get a great experience from this too, but anybody who reads this, as they pick it up, they're like, okay, yes, I just need to shift that thought just a little bit into, so what could I do about it?
that's true. And I think that's a great tip for every time you wake up and you feel like I can't face this. I can't just can't
Mhm.
face this day,
Yeah.
right? Making that choice of
Hmm.
I can do things. I'm not
That's
may not
right.
be able to do everything, but there are things that I can
Yes.
do. So that's
Yes.
wonderful. That's great. Was there a turning point in your journey when you realized I've made it through? I'm stronger than I thought.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there was a place when it became that place where I started feeling and seeing and knowing, that I was getting stronger, that I was doing a
Mm,
little bit better, and just by, getting up and showing up and doing what I could, but also I really had to learn how to rest, and which something that I was not very good at. And so it was kind of giving myself that permission to let God really teach me how to listen to my body, which I think
mm,
is also a part of resilience too, right? Is I discovered you can't use your body like a Mack truck. Like, it doesn't work that way. And I had for so many years that I had that idea that if I would just push faster or harder, or that I would get through this, kind of like running a race. You think, okay, well, I need to run and catch up with that next person. But really, when you get sick or you go through something difficult in life,
mhm,
you really kind of have to tune in and balance life, which is also a form of resilience of, like, if I can only do 10 minutes of this today, and then I got to rest for 30 minutes, then that's what I've got to do. And so for me, it came in God kind of going, all right, you got to quit thinking about chunking time. You have to think of micro chunking time, and and rest more. And so I think all of us have to learn how to tune into our bodies and our spirit and go, okay, what can I do, how much can I do, and then learn to rest. And that's important and healthy.
that's true. And what like what they say, progress not perfection. One
Yes.
one little tiny bit at a time.
Hmm.
That just works, right? Did being part of this project changed or deepen your perspective in your own story?
I think it just, affirmed that I'm on that right journey, honestly, because I know after being sick, like my life really shifted a different direction, and God
Yeah.
had laid on my heart a long time ago about writing, and I just kind of struggled about one, having time to do it, two, sometimes saying yes to especially one of the projects that he had laid on my heart, and because it felt more like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I don't know about this, Lord. This feels like one of those, I don't think it's me that you want me to do that. And so when I turned and finally said yes, it was more like he began opening doors upon doors upon doors. Then it was like it got better and better and better, and then God led me to She Rises, which, so my first book was, I did a self-publishing, but God led me while I was even writing to She Rises community, and to
Yeah.
Hannah, and just the magnificent community here. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I feel home, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, wow,
Aw,
what a tribe of amazing, incredible women, and who've taught me so much in this last
yes.
couple years. Getting to know their almost two. I think it's been almost two, year, almost a year actually, since I started. Maybe it's been a year since I started with She Rises, and getting to know them and those kinds of things. So it, it deepens things as you say yes. I think, yeah, this opened doors that I would have never even thought of before.
That's great. And I think we all draw strength when we are with when we are part of a community.
Hmm.
It is difficult, it will still be difficult, but if you know that you have that support group and
Hmm.
everybody's carrying everybody around, it just the load becomes lighter. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Well, what do you hope your readers will feel or what they'll take away from being part of this book?
I hope that they really tune into, and just know, one, God loves you so much. He wants so much good for your life. And no matter where you're at, if you're laying in a bed wondering what your life is going to look like because you went through some kind of trauma, tragedy, or life experience that's really got you down, or you're trying to figure out your next business step, understand
Mm,
that God has a plan for you, and tune in and let him show you. And as he shows you, and as you start taking those tiny steps in that direction, like, things unfold in ways that you just go, wow, I wish I'd taken that step before, almost, so yeah.
that's great. Well, thank you so much, Lovely. Lovely has joined our discussion for today, our celebration for this wonderful book, Espresso Yourself. Hi, Lovely. How are you doing? Oh, sorry. I think you're mute.
Okay, there you go. How we doing,
There.
ladies? Welcome. How we doing today?
We're
Sorry,
doing wonderful.
I'm on the road, and I saw
No,
Miss Erica text messaging like I gotta get in, I gotta jump in and speak. How we
Yes.
doing today?
well, thank you so much for joining us today. We were just kind of talking about this wonderful book that you guys have collaborated with, and I was asking Erica if there's any takeaway that you hope your readers will get from reading this particular book. What would that be?
Well, it's literally they have to know know their journey. When they take the leap of faith in starting their journey, to really stick to it and to really be take be have in their action, consistency, and really do not listen to the naysayers and keep going, because at the end of the day, it's the resiliency behind everything that you are doing. You must have that as
Hmm.
to stand to stand bold in your business, and really believe in yourself. Have the faith, that whatever is going on, you can overcome all obstacles, and really to focus on what means, what's the purpose and what you're doing, what is your why, and not your what. If you know your why, it's really it's more propelling than anything else, because at the end of the day, or we all have, we all can start something, but it's all about how, what we know in between, when we get the test of things going through our lives, and how we like persevere and keep going and really have the enduring, actually more, have the endurance to like to keep moving. Because at the end of the day, if you can skip all through all those, and remember that failures is not your it's not your end of time, because sometimes it's your most it's your most biggest lesson to keep to go for the next steps, to be. So stay resilient, keep your take your bold steps. So, like I always say, women in action, keep going, because at the end of the day, that's what you're gonna see the fruition at the end of time. That's just what it is, when it comes to being a part in the business. It, to
That
to not, yeah.
that's great. That's and what would there be any specific tip that you can give to a woman that's currently going through, her struggles and pushing through life? Is there any tool or tip that you can give?
I always say, when it comes to business, to really know, we don't know it all. We always gonna have to look for, get yourself some coach, get yourself, some women tribe around you. Know that, you're not on this alone. There's other places you can find, women to stand with you. If you feel like you don't have the tribe behind you, family or whatnot, do know that, even though we are in a top of a game, we having a coach, to me, mentoring, gathering of, other, amazing women, that can help you level up your game, elevate you, uplift you. If you feel like, that can help a lot. If you feel like, if you can find that, that sound of space, because you just know that you cannot do this alone. It takes a tribe to get your business together. And when you do it, do know you can always have, um the strength of other women that can keep you, that it helps you going. And if you feel like you have, people that's not believing in, in your business, what you got going, this is remember, you started, you remember why you started.
Hmm. That's
And
true. And
yes.
and and I think you have just echoed what we were talking about earlier.
Mhm. Very.
Erica just, yeah, mentioned that it's nice to be in a community,
Yes.
um, because everybody carries everybody and it just makes everything lighter. Well, if you can complete this particular sentence, how would you complete it? I'll ask both of you. To me, espresso yourself means dot dot dot.
Go,
Who like
Erica.
to go first?
I think
Look
it,
at
it
way,
is
Erica.
exactly what it says. Espresso yourself is that, like, do you. Like,
Yeah.
I love what Lovely said, is like, what's your why? Figure out your why. And, that's that purpose, that sole purpose of, what it is that you want to produce in life. And, as you take those steps ahead, you are expressing yourself. And as you're expressing yourself, you get to change the world. Just like we were talking about caramel and cocoa changes coffee, you get to add your flavor to it, and be that beautiful guiding light to help somebody else. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about. Like, we're all in this together. As one of us rises and we help rise the other people around us, like, that's what changes our world.
That's
Second that,
wonderful.
second that, Erica. That's true. That's well said. And truly, and when it comes to express yourself, when I came into this book, when I saw the, the information how to, I'm like, this is my time to tell the women, what I have been through with my own businesses. Not one but many. But it's hard to kind of like, sum it all here. But understanding that when you take that leap of faith, the legacy you can leave behind and the difference you can make in others' life. You may not know people are watching you. Sometimes they are watching everything you do. And so be a, like you said, be a guiding light. Be a woman that, that stand, in her business, and really wanna foster in others, as you do this. At the end of the day, I think really assisting others, helping others makes your make it's bigger than what that you can imagine when it comes to this space. And believe yourself, have strength, be consistent, step on top of your game, reach for the stars, and do know nothing, everything is limitless. There is nothing that's impossible. Everything is I say the sky is limitless. It's never, there's a limit to it. And do, like you said, do you, and truly.
Yeah. And when we are authentic in expressing ourselves,
Hmm.
we hope to touch people's lives directly, but
Mhm.
I'm sure there's more to that. We also touch people's lives indirectly
Mhm.
through
Yes.
other people. So that's wonderful. Well, what's next for you guys? Do we have any upcoming projects after this? What are our next plans?
Yeah, so I mean, there's some other anthologies that I'm going to be in, but also, there's lots of anthologies. So if that have come out even in the last few months, so check out Amazon for the anthologies. If you put in Hanna Olivas, you will find all kinds of
Oh,
anthologies that Lovely and I are both in, and so excited about that. But my new book is getting republished. I'm so grateful and honored that She Rises picked it up and is being republished July 8th. So check it out. It's called Breath of Heaven, Manifesting God's Way Using the Laws of the Bible and Brain Science to Have an Abundantly Blessed Life. And I've added tons more tools. It's about twice as big as the first one that I put out. And I just really want to share with people like you can have a blessed, abundant, amazing life. And I just go about the tools and things that God has taught me along the way and things that I've taught people along the way, because I really want people to just know that, like, really and truly, God loves you and wants you to have a blessed life. It's not
mhm.
for one, it's for all.
Great, great. Yes,
Well,
lovely.
congrats, Miss Erica.
Thanks.
That's exciting.
Thank
So
you.
I cannot wait to make sure I support you, girl. I'm gonna
Thank
get my
you.
copy. Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. Like she mentioned, we are in many anthologies, many books, few docu series coming through. I think
Yes.
through She Rises. She has been
Mhm.
doing an amazing job. Standing behind other women that that want to rise with us. Together we rise. I think together we stand together. We can do it. We can become more than than what we think. Our mind can become a
Yes.
brilliant mind, shiny brilliant minds when we stand together. And I'm actually getting my speaking this coming weekend. It's huge. It's a conference for the icons global event going through, and a couple more speaking coming through. My other book, I got two books being republished with She Rises, so I'm working on
Mhm.
that. So I have my hands full, yeah, right?
Yes.
Yes, I have this book been written.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there were a lot of them, actually four, actually with 2021, and now we're
Mhm.
gonna we prepare them and get them through, like you, Erica mentioned. Same here.
Yeah.
Um, and working a couple children books. That's that. And
Good.
then, gosh, so many things. I mean, I can. a lot.
Yes, I'm so
Wonderful,
excited for
wonderful.
you. And
Yes,
Lovely
yes.
has a skincare. Guys, I if I had my purse closer, I would pull out like
Uh,
I have her lip gloss from
oh, that's yeah.
Oh,
she has a whole beauty line, ladies,
Thank,
and it's really,
uh,
really good.
uh,
So
thank you.
oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. We're expanding on. By the way, she mentioned that. I didn't even think about. We're expanding on hair care lines.
Oh,
Yes, skincare line.
yes,
We should
yes.
do. Trying to get this all launched before our Emmy time. So it's a lot going on.
Yay. Yes,
My
well,
so excited.
congratulations to both of you.
thank
And
you.
this is just a true testament that if you stick to yourself, if you do you,
Mhm.
Yes,
nothing is impossible, as Lovely mentioned earlier. Well, thank you so much to
Yes.
the both of you for sharing your powerful stories and your hearts with us. Espresso Yourself, a cup of resilience, is a beautiful reminder that even though in the toughest moments, there's strength brewing within, right?
yes, yes.
Wonderful. Well, the ebook, to everyone listening out there, the ebook and the paperback are now available on Amazon. So if you're ready for a boost of inspiration, healing, and empowerment, go and grab your copy today. Thank you again, both of you. And until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love
Bye.
you all.
Thank you,
Blessings,
ladies.
everyone.
Take care.